Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Our social media handles at Stop HIV Together. Okay. You can order a free take-home HIV test. It gets delivered to your house. So it's self-testing. So there's so many ways to do it.
That's amazing because your privacy and everything is right there.
Yeah, everyone should be tested for HIV. And I think that especially in the LGBTQAI community, it's really important to remember that you should get tested again and you should get tested frequently. And really the message really is that there's nothing scary about it. Negative or positive, it doesn't matter.
It starts.
Okay, and then get a gander of the
somehow related to stigma. I think Mpox is the same. So really, stigma tends to be a barrier to testing, a barrier to vaccination. And so, really addressing stigma intentionally and making sure that we get the word out in a way that supports people's joy as opposed to, calling them risky. So I think, one of the things to think about.
So that guy has resigned from the CDC. He was head of immunizations. And I'm broken up about it.
No, I'm not. You know why? Because he's not. He is a political activist before he's a doctor, and he's a freak.
So this guy was running immunizations up at the CDC, and as an act of, I guess, solidarity with the CDC director who Trump finally let go for insubordination. Her name was Susan Monares. This guy called Dimitri Desakis led some sort of spectacular walkout, and would you believe had hundreds of people lining up when he left, cheering him on as a hero.
Listen, all I can tell you is the whole composite of Decatur, Georgia, where the CDC headquarters is completely different. And I'm thankful for it because, frankly, that town needed a little cleanup. But what's going to happen now in Georgia is going to be kind of scary because all of those doctors are going to start going after the state of Georgia. They're going to wield their power in the healthcare system in Georgia.
What would that look like?
Well, there's 4 major hospitals right there in downtown Georgia. They're in downtown Atlanta. There might be 5. Let's see. There's Grady. That's a trauma. That's the best trauma hospital. But then there's Northside, Piedmont, Emory. And then there's hospitals on the outskirts, just in separate counties around. So I foresee them being political activists in the Georgia state legislature on healthcare, on anything they can be. I don't know that many of them will leave because it's a pretty good lifestyle there in Atlanta, but they're going to take over and there will be, consequences, I think, in the legislature in Georgia.
Do you think that they will wait it out until, God forbid, the next administration, or you think that they're going to get active and just seize upon state houses? Because, one thing we found out is that state houses are much easier to buy off. These guys, you can buy them off for $50,000 to their campaign. It's on the order of $5 and $6 million on the federal level.
Yeah, they're not going to wait, and they're going to go after seats that they can. The good news is they concentrate mostly in Fulton County, which is a Democrat area anyway. But surrounding counties like Decatur that kind of teeter-totter, and other counties like Gwinnett, which has really gone blue, and it used to be a pretty red county, and Cobb County, those counties are really going to feel it, and their hospitals are going to feel it, but their politics are going to feel it.
I mean, I don't care who you are. This guy should not be the head of, and actually he's dressed like a dog. I don't think that he should be a dog catcher.
I think that looks like a devil.
Yeah. I mean, I think the guy is a Satanist, etc. And what I can't believe, he's actually been at the CDC for so long. But, naturally, the Democrats want to take whatever they can. This absurd guy who's leaving, and then this Susan woman who was head of the CDC, they want to take that as evidence of a mass mutiny. And of course, they're saying that Trump is causing all these departures. And Stephen Miller, I think, did a very good job of putting down all the bullcrap, actually, with a reporter. So check.
Talk about the CDC issue more broadly. As we know, the CDC's credibility was shattered during the COVID era. This is now widely understood and widely acknowledged. And CDC used to be, of course, seen widely around the world as a premier health agency. And much of the world discovered in the last few years that CDC was actually staffed by a lot of very partisan and very political bureaucrats who weren't at all concerned about public health and weren't actually very knowledgeable about public health. And we are working hard. And more importantly, Secretary Kennedy, one of the world's foremost voices, advocates, and experts on public health, is working hard to restore the credibility and the integrity of CDC as a scientific organization committed to the scientific method.
There you go. The scientific method. So we open this up with that doctor, that head of immunizations, talking about things that are in flagrant disregard to public health twice. Said HIV wasn't a big deal and nothing to be cautious of. And monkeypox wasn't an epidemic. Nothing to be concerned about.
Well, he's also, I don't know if you knew this, he was Bill de Blasio's big guy on COVID, one of his big guys on COVID. Yep. So he likes to perpetrate the myth. And I'm glad to see Stephen Miller, our very own Duke University graduate, really standing up for America. And today that kind of goes hand in hand with what happened with Trump today and his announcement.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot. Actually, it's hard to keep up with all that Trump has done. So I just want to put this up. The one thing that actually he was criticized about the most is his perceivably, open arm acceptance to this Operation Warp Speed and approving the vaccinations and getting them out there. And now he put something out that said, look, I think more research is out there and I want people to come clean. I want the drug companies to come clean and to justify the success of their drugs, put up or shut up.
Yeah, I think that is very telling. I don't know if you ever saw the interview with him, with John Rich, and I think it was with Tucker Carlson, I can't remember who, where he said, I couldn't understand why people were booing me at rallies. And John Rich just flat out told him, because they've all had family members affected by COVID and you won't acknowledge it. Right.
And I think even Trump's a businessman. The thing I like about him is he can, hate your guts, but if you've got something to offer and you're ready to come to the table, he'll come to it. And that includes being a person that can admit your own shortcomings. And so I think here, this is a big one. And I know that pharma companies are probably losing it right now.
Yeah. Listen, I will firmly say that I think he believed everything he said when he was president about this. And I do feel like he was duped. And you can tell because Dr. Briggs put it in her book. She literally said that they duped him. And so
we've seen that before. We've seen doctors
duping people
to vote for something, duping the public to believe it afterwards. So this is kind of interesting. I didn't really think about it this way, but this is that on a major scale. And then we're talking about it later tonight. We've got this on a state level.
It's just, to me, it's just a replay of the same. And it's the same kind of arrogant attitude that we saw during COVID. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Correct. Which drove a lot of people here in North Carolina to run for office and to achieve office, people like Jonathan Alman, et cetera. And it caused a lot of people to actually get active. And I think it caused a lot of people to switch parties. So Republicans, I know you're listening. I know you guys are listening because you complain about my show when I say things about you. If you're wanting to win elections and you're wanting to do the right thing, you need to listen to your constituents and not say you don't understand what's in this bill or you don't know, what's best for you.
Or say derogatory things about your constituents, because seriously, it makes you look bad when you do that, Amy.
We're going to get to that tonight, for sure. But I think Peter Navarro really had a lot to say. He was on Patrick Ben-David's show. I think it was this weekend sometime. And he really just, laid into the fact that Trump was duped. And I thought he laid it out very nicely.
There.
Whoops.
That SOB, when he...
Okay, hold on. I got to do this.
That SOB knew for a fact that virus came from the Wuhan lab. He knew that because he had funded the gain-of-function research in that lab, and he had already begun to design a cover-up. And we know that from the emails he sent to a group of researchers, academics, trying to get their support to push that come from nature theory. And that's the biggest lie of omission in American history.
Okay, so, and that has to do with Ralph Barrick right here at UNC. And actually, we're still trying to get public records. We, meaning investigative journalists that I know on our team, the colleagues. We can't get the records.
Well, we can't even get acknowledgement from the North Carolina legislature that this is an issue that they should be, working on.
Respectfully, Destin Hall. Speaker Hall came out a couple of months ago and said, look, we're not going to allow for you to keep these records. And it has been several months ago. I haven't heard any follow-up. I don't know how that works, but I would imagine with the budget coming up, he could withhold budget money until they fork over the records.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about Speaker Hall, but I do have some things to say about how things seem to go over there at the legislature lately.
Yeah, we have a real problem with that. And why wouldn't we? After what we've been telling you about, why wouldn't we? So, it is going from the believe all doctors, believe, what they say, etc. Yeah, Carol, that's interesting because, kind of off related, but related. This trans shooter that went up and targeted specifically Catholic precious children
from the school his mother worked at
in a hate crime. I've noticed that these people are on a cocktail of drugs. Their doctors need to be yanked off the golf course, out of the OR, wherever the hell they are, and arrested. Because you know what? For gender dysphoria, there is no FDA indication for any drug, period. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I didn't know that for the longest time, the psychiatric handbook would classify this as a mental illness.
The DSM-4 did. The DSM-5 did not. Now, Carol's bringing this up. There are a number of drugs. I don't remember, hydrochloroquine comes up or whatever. But the argument back then was, what? By damn, it's not FDA regulated. It's not FDA indicated for that. And yet these same progressive doctors who are not into public health, really, they're into
activism.
Yeah. It's the 9th trans school. Okay, Carol, I know there have been quite a bit of them. And it's funny how they target Catholics and Christians and hate Jews and
children. They also target children.
Innocent children.
Right.
I've noticed that, these same doctors who said, well, gosh, that's off, that's off FDA label. So is this shit. But they hadn't said anything. And that's actually causing it correlated with people killing other people.
Well, I think there's two things that I have big questions about. First of all, SSRIs, which, I think those have never been investigated to the full extent, researched to the full extent they need to be. When you have drug reps that say things like their drug Effexor is literally in their joking little clique called side Effexor, that ought to tell you something. And I think the other thing that's really not been studied is the anabolic steroids, because that's what they are. Whether they're real or not, they're, synthetic or not.
Most people don't know this about you, but you're a nurse and you also have a graduate degree.
Well, but that's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying it because
background in it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what really made me think about this is I'm a little older, and I remember back when people were giving weightlifters hell about taking anabolic steroids. They called it road rage. They would say, there's all these things going on because of steroids. But they don't want to admit that now. They don't want to say one thing about how these
children are being pumped up with hormones and puberty blockers. Yeah.
And puberty blockers. Yeah. Synthetic or natural, doesn't matter.
And I think there's a theme here tonight and with what's going on is that there has been mistrust in the public health system. It's been perpetrated by the CDC. It's been perpetrated. I mean, look, when you've got a damn a troon masquerading as America's pediatrician, that Rachel Levine, and trying to tell us it's a damn woman, that is the all-time ultimate gaslight.
Well, it's also the power trip of, I've noticed, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a couple of posts on X about pediatricians saying your child's not welcome here because you're not doing what we tell you to when it comes to the immunization schedule. Listen, are you the parent or am I? Because I don't want you telling me when my child gets vaccinated. You don't know their health condition all the way, what they're like every day. But I've seen that more than once, especially in Charlotte.
A doctor is a consultant and nothing more. Should be.
Well, it is really sad to see how these parents get so overwhelmed when a doctor tells them something. And now, on top of that, let's add what we've talked about in the past, bringing nurses into schools and therapists into schools.
Right. And we're going to talk about that. In fact, let's talk about that right now. I want to put this up. I don't expect anyone to be able to see it. So, Margot, if you yell at me, you're going to piss me off. I can't see it. I'm putting this up here as a citation for what I'm about to say. So when I put it up here, screenshot it, whatever, it's a citation, especially for those lately who think they know the law. Okay. Doctors in North Carolina can treat children of any age 0 to 18 behind the backs of their parents if they're treating a mental health malady. That would be gender dysphoria or whatever. If you're treating a pregnancy prevention, if you're treating drug abuse, you're allowed to do that behind parents' backs. Now, there was a bill that was proposed. I think Brian Echevarria, Neil Jackson, and Jennifer Balcom in the House put this bill up that said that that's not only is that going to end, but parents are going to have the right to see their child's records, health records. And I have been told by multiple people in the House that Dr. Timothy Reeder has been blocking that because
block a lot of stuff or do dumb things. Just my opinion.
Well, it's time to block him. So I wanted to let all you guys know that in the theme and the keeping with what we're talking tonight. Now I digress a little bit. It's, the left wants us to believe all doctors. And now the left obviously wants us to believe all teachers. So here we have a second teacher. We're going to play both. This time in Cabarrus County, who has done despicable things to children. We're putting this back to school theme here tonight because parents, I want you to take this, just marinate on it. I think the more that a teacher tries to present themselves as the fun guy or the perfect teacher or whatever, it's like the brighter the picture, the darker the negative.
Yeah.
So watch this, watch this. Here's the latest. And it's pretty horrific.
In a sex act with a 10-year-old child.
Okay, that was terrible, but this is bad as well. So let me get this here. This is Cabarrus County, everyone. This just happened, so please.
Sex act with a 10-year-old child. Police charged him with indecent liberties with the child and statutory sex offense with the child by an adult. Cabarrus County schools sent us this statement saying we are, quote, aware of the situation involving Calabrese, and they said he was immediately suspended. The district says it is fully cooperating with law enforcement, and parents and school staff have been made aware of these allegations. Now, take a look at this Facebook post. This is from Cabarrus County Schools. This is back from 2023. According to the Post, Calabrese was named Beginning Teacher of the Year. We're working to learn more about the...
Wow. And we see this over and over and over again. I'm going to show you another one that we reported a couple of weeks ago.
Involving his own students.
Some of those charges date back to 2003 when Mike Kelly taught at Laney High School. Other charges date back to when Kelly taught at Isaac Bear Early College High School, where he was named Teacher of the Year in 2016. Kelly has sat in jail since his arrest.
60 sex crimes allegedly with children. Teacher of the year. Now, we have no way of knowing if this guy had a record before. I didn't look it up. We have no way of knowing if there are warning signs, and we're not blaming any school administrators. But there's a theme, and you see it with women too, female teachers.
Oh, there's one in Guilford County.
Yeah, there's something about, and it's terrible that you have to suspect this. But guys, I don't care if your children's teacher is one teacher of the year. That shouldn't matter. You should look into it every single and ask your kids questions.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you should be suspicious of everybody. You should be suspicious of anybody that talks to your child, and especially ones that want to buddy up with your child. They're not supposed to be your child's friend. They're the teacher.
Right. Text messaging, things like that. But I want you to understand that the left is not the only ones. The left and some on the right will push themselves off, and you're going to see that later tonight, as experts. I'm a teacher. I'm a lawyer. I'm a whatever it is. And when someone says that, that is the first red flag you need to start paying attention to, because they're usually full of shit.
Yeah, I am really concerned at the number of these we've seen just this past school year. I mean, we're just starting school again, and all of these we've seen since January. Really, since January, I've seen, it's almost like you hone in on them and you didn't used to before,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's bad. And so what we want you to know is it's definitely bad. Awards for Teacher of the Year. You know what? And it also, let's just think about it. If you're getting Teacher of the Year, it probably exempts you from a lot of scrutiny that other teachers would get.
Yeah. And what are you getting Teacher of the Year for? What's the criteria for that? Is it test scores? I don't think it is.
Right.
Is it personality?
Right. I mean, and you know what? It might be independent for every school. And
Correct.
I think maybe that's something that parents, again, this is only week number 2 of school. Maybe you, especially if you have younger kids, you want to go in and say, hey, tell me about the Teacher of the Year last year, and what are you judging it on?
I agree with that. The criteria should be more academic. That's my opinion. It's good. Like, even when you give employees rewards or awards, it's not just based on one criteria. You have to be a leader. You have to be able to interact with people, but you also have to make your number.
It is really weird to see 2 white men get Teacher of the Year, isn't it? Because white men aren't getting a lot of anything from leftist institutions, are they?
Well, we know one that just got fired today at UNC.
We do, and we're waiting for that story to develop. But as you guys know, it was a moderately conservative project that the trustees of UNC put together last year, and it was really heralded as at best a first-in-class type of free speech terrarium, if you will, harbored at UNC. It's called the School of Civic Life, something like that. But it was meant to be a place where, a school where you could actually talk about both sides of the issue. But the assistant director of that was canned today. He is a white Christian conservative for reasons that we don't know. I think we're going to know more by Thursday, and we're going to update you. But this is a school within UNC that's supposed to be exempt from DEI.
Yeah, I did see one of his posts where he said, he alluded to what the reasoning was, but I'm hoping we can get him on and let's see what he says.
Right. I mean, I'm already in his corner. So, all right, guys. So I posted this today, and it's got people pissed off in the General Assembly. And it should have you pissed off, because we're looking into that foreign doctors law, which really lets doctors come from a list of countries, which is pretty much limitless. They're given, without the same credentials as Americans, they're given a license to practice. And I'm finding that looking at different versions of the bill, guess what? The bill has been changed and the floor has been dropped. So the Senate bill, is different from the House bill. I'm going to tell you just right quick. Here are the 3 senators: Benton Sari, Johnston County, Amy Gailey, Alamance County, Jim Bergen, who really makes me sick, out of Lee and Sampson County. We talked about competency, and here's what happened. The first version of the Senate bill included clear restrictions. It says, and I will read from the first version, that these doctors who come in can be at an accredited hospital by a joint commission and will be supervised by a physician licensed by the state of North Carolina and who is physically practicing on site at the rural medical practice. And the medical board shall adopt rules pertaining to adequate supervision of internationally trained physicians. That changed in version 2. And once we have the final bill, here's how it reads. They can practice at any hospital in North Carolina, period, point blank. Supervision was dropped out of it. Now, a physician, get this, has to just be there practicing medicine at the same time. Here are the House sponsors of that bill. Education. They also lowered the bar on education. It went from this to this. And so they lowered the standards, and I'm here to make an announcement right here, right now. I have three whistleblowers with direct evidence that I've seen that show that in April of this year, these senators were warned about removing the supervision and about having no USMLE test and the dangerous outcome that awaits patients. They were warned.
Well, what's interesting to me about this whole thing is, what's the motivation? What, that's the big question of the day. What motivated them to make these changes? And, I think you and I have done a lot of research on that. And it's interesting to see how this correlates to Medicaid, to Blue Cross Blue Shield's lobbyists. But it's also interesting to see, what are hospitals saying about this, right? Where are they in this?
Well, you might remember that I did this story.
Right.
We found out that, Carol, we have followed. Carol, you're about to lose it. You're like us tonight. We found out that 55 rural clinics, healthcare clinics, were purchased by Blue Cross Blue Shield. They own, by the way, 87% of the market share for insurance here in North Carolina. So they bought these clinics a year and a half ahead of time. Okay. And they may have more, right? And check this out. People's pockets got lined. Oh, and are you seeing some of the same? Benton, sorry, guys. Actually, sorry. This guy, okay, he got paid. Phil Berger got paid the most.
Of course he did.
And here are some of the other ones. And so we've got a trail of facts here and we got a timeline.
I think there's more things we've uncovered related to this story when it comes to, let's see, what's the medical board going to do about this? They're supposed to be in charge of what? Monitoring?
Well, we're going to get to that. But first, there is a senator out of Alamance. By the way, full disclosure, I know Amy Gailey. I like Amy Gailey. This isn't about who I like. This is about a job needs to be done, and I'm going to do that job, period, point blank. I'm investigating this. I want accountability. Look, we didn't vote for this shit. Republicans did not vote to put nurse practitioners out of a job, Americans, PAs, doctors, to stick it to medical students, and to screw Medicaid and Medicare patients. We would never have voted for that.
And to screw rural North Carolinians, which is really more than half the state. The bottom line is, you hear
every hospital in North Carolina.
Right.
Charlotte.
Berger's sitting there telling us how he's all helping Trump. He's doing what Trump wants. This is not what Trump wants. This is not America first.
This is opening up chain migration through North Carolina because these doctors get a permanent license in 4 years, a chain migration pattern of third world doctors, by the way, which you can't really verify their credentials. And we're going to talk about that for the rest of the country. So in a decade, we could be funneling through North Carolina these doctors to go take the jobs of doctors all over the country.
Right.
Don't say it couldn't happen, because it can happen. Now, the excuse that we're being given is complete bullshit. And on a certain level, I'm going to be honest with you. What else are you going to do? You screwed up royally.
The personal attacks are funny, actually. I mean, Amy, is that the best you got to call people trolls? You would rather not pick up the phone and say, let's have a dialogue. Let's come to my office. I'll drive 6 hours to your damn office.
I like Amy Gailey. I've always liked her. I'm disappointed in this. She put out a statement today that called us trolls. And then she went on to say, as every other legislator has said, okay, every other legislator has said a couple of things. Number one, everybody voted for it.
That's no excuse. Are y'all all dumb?
And number two, we don't understand the bill. And number three, and this really pisses me off, this is an outright lie, that every other state has the same one, or many states. There is not one state in the union that has no supervision. By the way, I want to know something. Who TF told you to drop the supervision? Do you understand that they dropped the guardrail? You can see it. In what world do you completely and totally drop the supervision requirements? There's not one state in the union, not one, that has zero supervision on foreign doctors. They come in, land from the plane, and look, it's not pink, but they're given a license. Go practice and check this out. One more thing. I am fired up. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting myself. With this bill, you could hire 2 foreign doctors. They both have licenses, put them in the same clinic, and there's the other doctor that you need to practice at the same time.
Because it's not clearly written.
Well, it is clearly written. Well, it's clearly written so that Blue Cross Blue Shield can staff all foreign doctors who are not qualified and taking Americans and nurse practitioners out of their jobs and pay them peanuts and drive down the wages for every doctor. Look, doctors that go to ECU, UNC, they are not going to stay here. They're not going to compete for peanuts.
Well, and there's another component to this, the 14th Amendment, where this really violates, the rights of Americans to compete fairly for a position because the criteria is different. I think that's one piece that nobody talks enough about that really needs to be brought to the forefront. And if you guys don't want to acknowledge it, let me just say, I talk to recruiters every day, all day as part of my job, and they're telling me that people are coming to them for these jobs.
Why are you making a law that discriminates? Because in the same law, it outlines pretty stringent provisions for PAs, supervision, etc. Very stringent provisions for doctors who are coming from other states. You dropped every effing guardrail for international doctors. This is America Last on acid and steroids at the same time.
Well, and then on top of that, it's really important that we talk about the monitoring of this bill.
Well, we're going to talk about that, but first, a lot of people had something to say to Senator Gailey. I was the first one. I said, look, Senator Gailey's calling me a troll, fine. But what she won't tell you is under this law, doctors from places like Iran, Syria, and China can just walk right into North Carolina hospitals, treat seniors, veterans, and children. By the way, we've already told you, children of all ages. And let me tell you something. That means a foreign doctor can come in here and a week later have more rights over your child than an American. That's what it means. I'm okay. I'm fine. Okay. Every other state has this requirement. Why don't we? Why aren't we allowed to have that, Amy? These are people in your own county. Notice how quick they are to attack me and you, Margot, but how slow they are to admit that the foreign doctor law quietly eliminated supervision for foreign trained doctors. That's not misinformation, guys. That's exactly what I just showed you. You just said this. First rule of the debate, don't call us no damn troll.
I've been called worse by better, Miss Senator Gailey. And you don't really bother me because, frankly, when you do things like this, other people see what you're doing, and I'll amplify it so they do, and it makes you look bad, not me.
Yes, they can call us names all day. You're gambling with North Carolinians' lives, and we're not going to shut up. But a lot of people have something to say. Care to answer? As your constituent, we deserve answers. Am I a troll for answering that? I mean, that's what she's saying. Name calling is not a proper response. Proponents of the law are concerned lashing out. Here's her constituent said she sent an email with one question. Did you vote for? Her response was, please stop getting your news from X.
That is the best news comes from X. First of all, let's just say that the best news comes from X. And any
Trump was elected.
Former teacher who is now a lawyer who tells you not to get your news from X is telling you to go watch CNN. And I'm sorry, but we don't do that here.
54% of adults over 35 get some form of news from social media 3 times a day. I looked that up before I got on here. So,
and TikTok is even bigger and more prominent than X is for younger people. And guess what, Miss Gailey? I haven't used my TikTok in quite a while, but you may be my
shit. You don't want to be the protagonist in Margot's TikTok, let me tell you. But I will say it's been day 16 and not one request for a correction on any of my stories.
No. Oh, and not one of them will openly admit that they were wrong. They double down on we all voted for this. Are you all dumb? I'm going to just use the line my mom used to say. Well, if everybody told you to jump off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge?
You don't want me to answer that, do you?
No.
Okay. If someone can make mugshots of these 3, it would be fun. Personal attacks are a sign that the person making them has lost a debate or argument. Just what you said. Here, this one really got me. I'm a resident of North Carolina and I want protection from and supervision of foreign doctors. I'm in Caswell County. That's actually where I think Speaker Destin Hall is.
No.
And I would not have known about this if it weren't for Margot and Sloan, and neither are trolls. I have to tell you, I love our people.
Well, the other part is, Ms. Gailey, I only have 73,000 followers on X, but I got about 150,000 on TikTok, and I'm going to leverage them now. I think it's warranted when you start calling people trolls.
Well, and I've got all in on 2 Substacks, 17,000. For a Substack, that's pretty good. It's shared. We had 62,000 reads on that 62,000 reads in 2 days on that Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's being passed around, and I will tell you, I'm proud of my work. I think I'm an excellent investigative journalist, and actually Amy did too when I broke all the stories about the trans hospitals around here. So I think the problem is I'm an excellent journalist with great bona fides to do this, and y'all mad.
I think they've been duped and they don't know how to get out of it. That's my opinion. And instead of standing up and saying, ladies, thank you for the good work, they want to make us out to be the villains instead of themselves. And that's just not going to work for either one of us.
Well, lives are on the line. I don't give a damn what you call me. So we're going to break this down for you and put this into perspective. And I really want you guys to focus on this. In North Carolina, there are 2 entities that regulate Medicaid, Medicare, but also the rest of your doctors, and you will never actually know about it. It's the medical board, which we're going to get into, and then there's DHHS. You know, if you even know of anyone on Medicare or Medicaid, you know, this is so profound what we're about to share with you, because we have 2 doctors here. That would be Grant Campbell out of
Cabarrus.
and Rowan Cabarrus. And then we have Timothy Reeder, who I feel like a Clockwork Orange triggered every time I hear his name out of Pitt County. So they should know better. And all lawmakers passed the law in light of the information that we're going to give you right now. So this is an audit 9 days after the bill was signed. Okay. Medicaid patients are going to be hit the absolute worst. Medicaid patients vulnerable to fraudulent, dangerous behavior from doctors. Here are the 3 things in Dave Bolak's audit. No risk evaluation. That means the division, they never assessed whether a doctor posed safety threats. Providers,
they don't look at their background. That's what that really means.
Well, it means, and it means if the medical board, which is we've already told you about, allows felons, drug addicts, and convicted sex predators are, and I'm going to tell you how it all works. Okay. So you don't know what kind of doctor you're seeing. Now, I have a great relationship with my primary care. I know you do. But if you're going to, I mean, listen, if you go to urgent care or if, God forbid, you have an accident, you don't know what you're going to be seeing. This is the problem. Get this. Clinic ownership unchecked. People don't know who owns or controls the clinic. So, if the law says you're allowed to have a doctor, a foreign doctor, go to a clinic, and another doctor has to be there working, who the fuck owns the clinic? We don't know.
They don't know. They also don't know if they have the authority by permit to be able to sign for class scheduled drugs.
Oh, well, it gets better. I mean, worse.
Yeah.
But better. So everyone in the General Assembly has access to this. The treasurer does these audits. This came out 9 days later, and I haven't heard in Grant Campbell's weekly sessions. I haven't heard a damn thing about the serious nature of what we're about to tell you now.
No, wait a minute though. What does he talk about? How the DHHS people need more money for Medicaid. That was his last talking.
Okay, this guy's not serious. So here's just a few examples. One, a doctor was barred from practicing medicine because he was an alcoholic, but he kept treating patients. And while the board suspended him, he kept on going. So DHHS just said, fine. By the way, they're going to oversee the foreign doctors. Doctor to prescribe controlled substances to friends continued for 8 months, saw 14 patients during that time.
I think that's the one that had friends and lovers.
Oh, okay. Friends and love. Well,
right. In the actual context, we were reading it.
Friends with benefits. We all know friends with benefits.
That's a pretty big benefit.
And, we know from you too, lady, 4 months ago, when we were talking about nitrous oxide, that would be worth friend with benefit for you.
That's right. It would for me.
That's your jam, man. Yeah. I mean, and we're joking. Okay. Get this. This pisses me off. Oh my God. Doctor barred from treating females due to multiple sexual misconduct. First of all, why is he practicing at all? He kept seeing female patients.
And he was not allowed in the room with female colleagues alone, and he would still do it.
Why did he have So again, they want doctors from foreign countries, give them a license, no supervision.
And they're not supervising American doctors anyway.
This is about as reckless as Oregon's euthanasia bill.
Yeah. I think my favorite of all of them, I don't know if you're going to get to the doctor from Tennessee who didn't have a North Carolina license.
No, I mean, this is the highlights.
Oh, yeah.
After a DEA raid and criminal conviction for misuse of drugs, the doctor stayed in Medicaid until failing revocation and later sentenced to prison. This guy practiced on Medicaid patients with no DEA certification at all, pled guilty to illegally dispensing opioids, and kept writing prescriptions until he's put in prison.
That is the same guy. That one's the one that had a Tennessee license. What are you doing practicing in North Carolina?
Wait, of all that shit, all you got was Tennessee?
Well, no. The point that got me was he was doing all this. He didn't even have a North Carolina license, and he was distributing opioids, and he did it from jail.
So I know that there have been several lawmakers, and I do appreciate this, who have really expressed a desire to close the borders and crack down on fentanyl. And you are allowing doctors to come in from whatever country,
or state,
have no supervision, have no American training or testing, and it's a full license. It's not a temporary. Now they will say, well, Sloan, they got to stay in a particular clinic by damn, and it's got to be within 500 miles and blah, blah. We don't know who owns the clinic. We don't know who's supervising.
We don't know if they really have criminal records.
This is a bungled piece of shit. This law is a bungled. I'm sorry. I'm using profanity.
But it's a layered bundle of crap because it's not just the law, the supervision of the people that they're supposed to be supervising. They don't know it.
So, folks, these are Republicans who wrote the law and delegated all the authority to unelected bureaucrats
who don't do their job,
appointed by Democrats
who don't do their job.
Well, this is evident and it's scary. Now, let's go to nursing homes, because nursing homes, and I hate to tell you,
you're really going to piss me off, aren't you?
Nursing homes are where a lot of these guys are going to be. And Dan Forest, our former lieutenant Republican governor, Dan Forest, he is with a lobbying firm. So is Jason Perry, who is a former senator, a lobbying firm that represents nursing homes. They are going to have a lot of these doctors. And remember, it is conceivable under the law that 5 or 6 of these guys could come in from one country. And as long as there's 2 at a time, foreigners, unsupervised, working in the same nursing home, that's legal under the law. Okay, let's get through this. They were audited, and let me see, this is in December 2024. All of this was known. Let me tell you what they found. The elderly were denied dignity. Patients were forced into multiple diapers to save time, left unbathed and ignored for hours upon hours. Sites were barely inspected. Some went over 5 years.
Wow.
Without state oversight. Serious abuse and neglect found once inspectors came back. Medication errors unaddressed. Missed life-saving drugs like insulin, seizure meds, and blood clot preventers. Can you imagine being held captive by, I don't even know what to say.
That's heartbreaking, especially, listen, I was a MAT team member during COVID, and I've worked in
explain what that is.
It's a bipartisan member that goes in and helps people vote. And what we did in that instance, in nursing homes, and we were the only ones that were allowed to wear PPE. Now think about this: their parents, their kids, their grandchildren were watching us through a window, but they could not come in, and we were going in there to get their votes. And after that happened, I stayed in touch with the nursing home. I would go see those people. I would go buy anything they wanted from the store. We would, anything I could do to help. But what I learned from that is, even in the best nursing homes, there's neglect.
Well, I don't claim to know about nursing homes because I've not had the experience that you have, but I can imagine that these doctors aren't really opting in to come to America. Here's what I mean. Doctors now would say, yes, I want to go work in America and practice medicine in the best country on earth. So I'm going to do a 2 or 3 year residency, just like all the American doctors. I'm going to pass that certification test. And I think they'd have to go through some sort of provisional license. They're not. They're going to have a recruiter that goes out in Pakistan or wherever, recruits these people. So it's kind of like a mercenary that they just do it for money. And it could be your aunt or your mother or your sister or someone you love in these facilities. This is so cruel. I can only give you a couple examples. There are many. This is so bad.
Heartbreaking.
Ignoring screams of pain from these elderly people. Staff forcibly restrained a resident instead of administering medication. There was delay. Investigation was delayed 132 days. So within DHS, okay, there's two funnels. Medicaid doctors, because private insurance will not pay for doctors who are not board certified, and these foreign doctors. The only 2 payers are Medicare and Medicaid. And so we're showing you that the Medicaid doctors were rated abysmal from our state treasurer, auditor, and the nursing home. So we're taking, we're handling, do you see where we're grouping? It's okay. All right. So now we've told you already. The medical board, who's in charge of the licenses, they're letting drug addicts, anti-Semites, anti-Christian bigots who call Christians criminals. But check this guy out. This guy was Roy Cooper's appointee, who was over the medical board, and Josh Stein put him over DHHS. So he'd already failed audits on the medical board, and now he's effing things up at DHHS. He's in charge of
everything we just talked about.
Well, of once they get a medical license, I'm trying to make this as easy as I can. So it's 1 and 2. So the medical license will be given by the medical board, who rubber stamps everything and lets convicted
felons,
criminal, stay as a license. Okay. They give the piece of paper, and then they're having oversight. By the way, none of these people are elected. Cannot be held. I mean, they can be held accountable. Wait till we get to that.
But nobody's going to do that.
Oh, well, you're damn right they're going to do it. And we're going to push them to do it. So we're failing at both of those. So instead of having oversight hearings and doing all these other things, we're being called trolls, menaces, etc., and they're circling the wagons. I want you to get off your ass and take care of people. We voted for this. So the General Assembly and these health committees that Amy Gailey wants to tout, they can do a lot of things. Investigations and hearings immediately. I haven't heard a damn thing about pulling this guy in for a hearing on what in the hell is going on over at DHHS and the medical board.
And we've constantly said what's going on with felons being able to practice in North Carolina. And we keep hearing, we're going to get there. We're going to address it. Well, the time has come. Get it done.
Continuous monitoring, statutory reform. Well, we know they can do statutory reform because guess what?
That's what this bill started.
They just did a statutory reform and gave them more power and took all the safeguards off for foreign doctors. I know some of you are watching right now and you did it. And I want to tell you this. If you're a Christian, a real one, you're going to recognize what I'm doing, what we're doing. You're going to recognize it and you're going to know it. And you're going to know who's ordering our steps.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just going to say this to all the General Assembly people. Jesus Christ said, hate me first. And I feel that way about this because I'm a Christian and I'm a North Carolinian. And the only reason I do what I do, I don't care about money. I don't care about fame, fortune, none of that. I care about my neighbors who in Western North Carolina have lost a lot. And in this state in COVID lost a lot. This isn't about us being famous or any of that crap. It's about our people.
We work in this instance, and it doesn't hit me always, but it really hit me with this. I mean, we are doing what we are supposed to be doing. If you're a Christian, you will recognize that. You will put politics aside and you will do the right thing. Old people, okay, and children will suffer the most. This is not a game. This is not a political, oh my God, what are we going to do? We have a crisis here and you better fix it. Look at all the things, Margot, they can do. Budgetary oversight. I know that they're budgeting now. Perhaps there's something they could do. Continuous monitoring. They could have every 2 months hearings. Accountability for the leadership. I have heard more names called at me. And I'm unwelcome at the General Assembly. I'm unwelcome in the Republican Party. I'm unwelcome. I haven't heard a damn thing about the man that is over DHHS and has allowed all of these abuses to happen. I haven't heard a damn thing about the man who is also over the medical board and allowing these things to happen. You're putting women with doctors, several doctors who have already been convicted of sex offenses, and you're bringing in men from Pakistan? Are you insane?
But don't listen to us. Don't listen to us, Sloan.
We're the problems.
That's right. Deflection never works. It always backfires.
Yeah, I think it's very clear who the problems are. And I think it's very clear who's going to suffer. And I hope it's very clear to everyone that this is not about politics. And the first politician that rallies around our cause will win. The other ones, the ones that have been attacking us, will not. It's a matter of time, but you're not going to win.
Yeah, keep calling us names, though, because I like putting it up. It just makes you look worse.
Well, it makes everybody... Yeah, no, this is a life or death situation. And I hope we've shown that. But again, I want to put this up that The General Assembly, which right now is under control by Republicans, can do these things. The nursing home report came out in December of 2024. I haven't heard of an investigation or hearing. The medical board, okay, the medical board and that one came out 2023. Not a damn thing happened to them. Not a damn thing. In fact, they were rewarded with more power.
Is Amy Gailey on the Health and Medical Services Committee? Didn't you say that? Wouldn't you think she would want to be looking at these things and investigating?
Attack on Christianity. I mean, it's hard to look at it otherwise, because guess what? All of these counties, Cajun lady, they are, in their infinite wisdom, they're all red counties that they put the most power in. 92 counties.
I think there's a bigger issue here. I think this is a continuation of how to kill old people in COVID. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like, why would you do this to people who are the most vulnerable? Children and elderly people. Why would you do that?
Well, I will say this, and I've said it before, and I've said it over and over again. The Senate here and those 3 people that I showed you, I'll go and show you again if I can get this up here. I do believe, hang on, I do believe that they're the bad guys. And the reason I do, and I just came to that conclusion, is because I've seen the whistleblowers talk to me. I've seen, and I've seen I've seen that they were warned. I've seen the revisions in the bill.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's Tim Reeder, who we played the video last week. I think you were vacationing. Where the hell were you?
I had no water.
Well, we missed you.
Thank you.
But you know, these guys, they changed the versions of the bill. It just changed. And in between the versions, they were warned not to. And I've never in my life I've heard of adding standards where someone writes them a letter. Someone says, this has gone too far. You can't have them not supervised.
What's interesting is that picture that you just put up. 2 of them have attacked us. Mr. Sari and Miss Gailey have both attacked us now. One of them basically said, I had to come back from Europe to talk down.
Oh, okay. And they're both lawyers, and think that they can bullshit me. And it's not happening. So these 2 lawyers, Benton Surrey, wanted to tell me, I wanted to tell other doctors who have been on here, I wanted to tell the recruiters who are already recruiting for positions that what we see isn't accurate.
Honestly,
now you know why. Now you know why they're attacking, because they know they dropped the standards.
They do. And you know who else knows? Harmeet Dillon knows in the DOJ, because you know where she's from? North Carolina. And we told
a lot of people know. Listen,
a lot of people.
You think we're alone.
We're not.
You think we're a troll. This is bigger than us. And I just want to tell you guys, your support has meant the world to us. I mean, Absolutely. If there's one thing I would close on, it's thank you. Thank you for all your support. A name calling is part of the game. Honestly, it is. It's just funny to watch women do it to other women, because frankly, keep doing it. I love it. Just go ahead and keep calling me names, because I'll just show everybody. We'll take the attacks for you. I would rather take attacks, quite frankly. I'd rather be kicked out of anywhere. Yeah. If calling the truth out makes me an enemy in my own party, I don't accept that. What kind of party am I in? And by the way, this is our Republican Party. Republicans don't do this. They are the toxin in the party. Thank you very much. We're not. Well, sadly for you, Sloan, this is what I've seen for many years, since I tell the truth, and I'm actually paying for it in other ways right now. But you know what? It always comes around. The universe always rights itself, and good always triumphs over evil. I mean that. Yeah. Yeah. And we've seen it before. We'll see it again. But what can you do? Because I don't want you to feel helpless. I want you to call your representative, and I want you to ask them. Yeah. And I want you to ask them, look, why are American doctors required to fulfill more standards than foreign doctors? And they'll tell you, well, we had a healthcare shortage. Dropping standards and healthcare should never be in the same sentence, ever.
I just want to say this to you. If you get a smart aleck quip back saying don't pay attention to Twitter or X, she's obviously behind the times because it's not Twitter anymore. But anyway, if you get that, please drop it in my DMs. Or you can send it to margownc@gmail.com. We would be happy to see those and we'll highlight them for you.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If someone called up there at the end of the afternoon and their response is stop getting your news for Twitter, they've been having their ass kicked all day because the first 20 calls are, well, you know, whatever they're and everyone voted for it. And it's wonderful. And Bruce accent. It went from that to stop getting your news. So well done. Whole heck of old. It's very, very good to see that they're getting their ass kicked because the right time to have these conversations is before it's a law. Now, she's going to argue, we were talking about this in the health committee, et cetera. Do you think that we're watching that all the time? This is kind of a big deal. So do you think we can make these decisions about our health care in private? I don't think that's going to happen again.
By the way, if you don't want to have this kind of talking, maybe a public speaking forum for people to give their opinions, maybe that should have been done.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. After this, I think that they can. One thing we're not going to tolerate is them saying, well, we're going to delay the law from implementing for a year. You're not going to wait until after the elections to do nothing.
That's right. Always vigilant.
Yeah. And
right.
we're more Republican than a lot of these people ever thought about being. Thank you very much. So anyway, all right, we're done. We'll see
you on Thursday.
Yeah. Annette Albright will be with us.
Great.
Yeah, with Trump signing executive orders when it comes to violence in schools, etc. And I'm trying to line up a few rappers to obviously help her out with that because I know a couple of them and maybe even to be on the show on Thursday. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you again.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.